Greetings, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be. I'm your intrepid host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. I greet you with blessings, honor, and love, of course. First off, let me say that if you're listening to this, I love you all. I send greetings out and always my prayers to you. And just remember that. I'm always got my prayers for you. Now, another thing, business, first off, is this. I'm having difficulties with YouTube Live and other things on this Chromebook. So I don't know what's going on. And so I'm not able to see the chat room, okay? And so please forgive me. If you join this and join the live chat, my apologies. I can't see it, okay? So let me get that out of the way right away. Now, the subject of this particular video seems to be very important. And I've discussed this a few times in videos past. And I want you to know that it's very important that we understand what's going on. Now, you've heard me talk about the cosmic stuff going on with all the different rays and energies hitting the planet. Well, it's continuing. And up until a couple of days ago, the Schumann resonance was getting a little outrageous. It was on the high side, if you will, okay? Next other thing is that, yes, we are getting a lot of cosmic rays. The volcanoes are up, the earthquakes are up, the storms are up. Everything is going a little on the wacko side. If you were following along in the Bible, the Christian Bible, now I subscribe to an older version of the Catholic Bible, which is the Douay-Rheims version. And I grew up on that. I've read from it in church when I was a Catholic. And it's very easy to read and very good to understand. Now, the books that I have now, the Bibles, they're King James versions, and they are different. And so King James did change the Bible to suit his own taste. Now, with that said, if you are listening to the world right now, everybody is discussing the end of the world. And I want to say, yeah, buddy, we're here. Now, do I mean it's the end of the planet? Is it the end of the world? It is the end of the craziness, okay? The lifting of the veil, Revelations, if you will, the last book of in the King James Version. Revelation says when the veil is lifted, all things will be seen. You see what's going on with the Catholic Church, with the all of that mess, you know, and I've discussed it. It's been going on for years, but it's coming more to a head. Okay. The EU, there's information out now that the EU, okay, the European Union, is dissolving because it was created by a bunch of oligarchs who wanted to control some more stuff. And so it's breaking up. And so the evil of the world is starting to fall apart. Pedophiles are being arrested. Children and adults, you know, are being released from slavery and from being abducted and those types of things. These things are happening as we speak. And that in the last year or so, it's just increased. Now, be ready for the ride, because it's going to get worse in the respect that these things and falsehoods are going to be brought out to everyone. And a lot of people are going to be so shocked when they find out that someone they know has been dipping into the pedo ring kind of thing. Okay. Oh, their favorite priest was what? Or they're a coach, or whatever it is, it's going to come out. It's going to be seen. It's going to be shown. And there are people who are just going to panic. They're going to stand in the street and just look dumbfounded because they're not going to know what else to do. So, with that little bit said, we have to look at the bigger picture and beyond. The bigger picture is we are in the last days of what was written. Many prophecies have already been said, have been proven. There are still folks waiting on the third temple or something like that. To the point, though, does everything have to happen in Revelations for revelations not to be true? Just saying. What if 9 out of 10 prophecies come true, but the 10th one doesn't? And are you going to say, well, this ain't it? Well, what if other things altered the timeline, as I've spoken about before, in that the third temple doesn't get built this time? Almost, but maybe other things stopped it or whatever. So it's like, but people are all focused on the ending, okay? And it's not the ending. It is the end of tyranny. It is the end of craziness. It's the end of the pedophile. It's the end of a lot of things. This is the end of an era, of a millennium, or whatever you want to call it. Now, for those of us who are, hopefully we are spiritually in tune with the cosmos, the celestial canopy, if you will, over our heads, the stars and planets and everything. Everything's lining up. Now, is there going to be a catastrophe? Yeah. Is it going to be earth-shattering? Yeah. Because Mother Earth has her own schedule, if you will. Mother Earth is going through her own changes. And it just kind of sort of happens to be along with the same timeline, meaning that all these things are being shown. The veil is being lifted from everyone who wants to participate. The knowing, the understanding, the spiritualness that is around right now. And it seems like you're either one or the other. You either have become more spiritual because of this end time, if you will, all these energies and so forth. And there is another group of folk, if you will, who seem to just be absolutely, positively against anything spiritual. And that's going to be the hang up. Because the golden age, there's not a lot said about it. But the golden age is being discussed by the galactics, by the cosmos, by the one law rule that I have discussed, and they have discussed, meaning they are brethren from up yonder, spirit beings, angels, archangels, all of the above. And what they're telling people right now on this planet, because there are a lot of people listening, they're telling people it's all about love. It's all about peace. It's all about unity. It's all about we are all equal. Now, there are a lot of good people out there. Bunches, millions, I would wager. Maybe even billion. But I know that there are millions of people out there who are praying, wishing, hoping. They're sending out love. Do they have YouTube channels? Probably not. But are they doing something in their own community? Yes. The word is spreading. And for those of us who seem to be in tune more with our spiritual sides, how do I put this? The disharmony between us and other people is almost like the friction has increased. Now, I would like to venture up a viewpoint in that those of us with a higher frequency, those of us seeking the higher frequency, we understand. Well, I say we understand it. We understand it's there. We understand that we need it. We understand that in order for us to move into the next realm, we need to increase our vibrations. We need to get ourselves out of that lower stuff. We need to get out of the negativity and the arguing and the fighting and the fussing and all that. We need to get out of there. The golden age. Now, it says I've got 2 viewers. Let me say right here again and reiterate. I cannot see the chat room, so I cannot interact with you. I'm very sorry. I love you. Thank you for listening in. With the golden age, though, I hear lots of people discussing it. However, it's like they're talking around it rather than talking it. What is it? Do no harm. to no other being. No harm to any being at all. Now, I've stated this in when I talked about the when the orb crossed over in front of the screen. I did a video tour about the orbs passing in front of the screen here. And it's like, that's an understanding that there are different realms. There are different parts of reality we can't see with these eyes. And so when we start seeing orbs, where lots of people taking pictures of them, lots of people seeing them, and it's that, what is the golden age? The golden age is understanding that there are other realms, there are other realities, and that when I'm making this up, but if we, do a high pitched noise, does that affect an orb being or a spirit being or a being? Just because we can't see them, are we irritating them? Are we causing them harm? There are lots of folks in the radio business, cell phone industry, and so forth that claim they have seen crab-like entities attached to high frequency antennas, arrays. And for example, I used to work in radio, and an AM station puts out a lot of juice, okay? And you have to, in other words, to send a signal up, out, and about, and so forth. So it's very simple, but many people have reported seeing crab-like type or spider-like type beings that are being affected by these high frequencies from radio stations, just you name it, and they don't like it. Okay, that's an example. Now, just because we can't see them doesn't mean that we're not harming them. Does anybody ever stop to ask them or, communicate with these creatures? No, we just keep doing what we're doing, and we don't really give a damn about what the effects of what we do. What happens down the line? What's happening to the atmosphere with all these energies we're bouncing off of? What's happening to the earth when AM radio and all these frequencies are passing through the earth and then going up into the atmosphere? Yeah, what are we doing? Well, I'm just listening to the radio. I'm not doing anything. Do we really know that? Do we really understand that? I've talked about plastics and all the polymers and things, but it's when you say, oh, it's just a plastic bottle. It's just one. Well, in this new paradigm, one plastic bottle is a sin, for example, because you have to understand the ramifications of what that plastic bottle means. All right, there are other things too, and I'm not going to go harping on the plastic. My point is that we are too short-sighted. The golden age is going to say we are all equal. Well, now, and I've used this as forgive any brain surgeons or janitors. I have been a janitor many times, a custodian, and so forth. I've never been a brain surgeon. However, I have worked in institutions and so forth with people and different medical emergencies and so forth. Anyway, but to the point. So I'm not a brain surgeon, but I have been a janitor. Now, I know doctors. I have a friend of mine, a very personal friend of mine. He's a very good man. And he's one of the few people who are of, I hate to use the word authority, but as being a doctor who saves lives, there is a certain amount of authority to that. Now, he and I see eye to eye on a lot of things. He makes lots more money than I do. That's not the issue. He helps people when he can. And I look at this and I say, the golden age means that a brain surgeon and a janitor are equal. A person who makes $100,000 a year is equal to the person who makes $25,000 a year. They're equal. A person who works as a mechanic and is greasy and works on automobiles and he comes out from underneath the car and looks like hell. He works on the brain surgeon's car. Now, maybe the brain surgeon could fix his car. That's not my point. There are people who do different things. And if you're a brain surgeon, good for you. If you're a car mechanic, great for you, because, there are a lot of people that need their cars worked on and so forth. And back in the day, I used to be a mechanic. And it's like, that was a good trade. You're a mechanic. Great. Now, what made you different was, do you have your own shop, or are you a shade tree mechanic? Of course, I've known a lot of good shade tree mechanics, but I digress. So how can we move into this new golden age if we're going to judge each other? Well, but he has something that's more worthwhile than you. Really? It's going to be difficult for a lot of people to say the janitor is equal to anyone other than a janitor, because janitors are like the scum of the earth. Oh, he's a janitor. He can't do any better. I used to love being a janitor. Quiet in the evenings, you mop the floors, you do your job. Nobody's yelling over your head. All you got to do is do your job by the end of the evening. That's all. What's wrong with that? There's a lot of zen in mopping and sweeping and cleaning. There's a lot of zen in that. There's a lot of time. I used to daydream in the most wonderful ways while I was mopping a floor. But does that make a brain surgeon more important than me? And I'm not trying to use myself as an example, but in a way, because I was a janitor, I'm using that reference. But how can other people who work in white collar jobs, are they going to be able to look at other people and go, wow, you're a blue collar worker. You work on machines. I'm a white collar worker, and I don't ever get my hands dirty except, when I change the printer or something like that, Okay. So are we ready as a species? Are we ready as a society? Are we ready as human beings to be able to pull in the collective and say, you know what? It doesn't matter what your talent is. Are you using your talent to the best of your ability? That should be the question. If you have a talent and you hide it under a bushel basket, then no one can see that talent. You can't develop any other talents. It's hidden. It's closed off. It's shut off to the rest of society and to yourself. So do we take our talent and put it up on that bushel basket, as it said in the Bible? Put your candle on the bushel basket rather than under it. Okay, that makes perfect sense. But we as human beings, can we make that step? I see other people as other people. That's all. I don't see them as a doctor or a lawyer or a gas station attendant. Well, I don't have those much anymore, but to the point, I don't look at people for what they do or what they have done. I'm looking at people as who they are. It's another human being. Their talent happens to be fixing mechanics or being a doctor or being a lawyer or whatever the other talent is. And it's not that you should have only one talent. I mean, I've worked in different industries over the year, and I've done this and that. And each one of them, I tried to do my best. And as a machinist, I excelled. As a draftsman, I excelled. As a teacher, I excelled. Because I put my heart into it. Because I treated the other people with the same respect and honor and dignity as I would wish to be treated. So my philosophy for a long time has been treat those other folk, even if they treat you like shit. Now, I don't mean you got to stand there and get beat up. That's not my point. Maybe verbally, sticks and stones might hurt my bones, but names will never harm me. Okay, fine. We have not to, we forget that. Somebody calls us a name, we want to kill them. I mean, really, I'm going to kill him. I hate him. I mean, we don't go from, that guy's got a weird mouth and his head's screwed on wrong, to this person said something wrong to us, therefore we want revenge. We want retribution. We wish to get, judgment upon them. I've been there. I've wanted to revenge on several people over my lifetime, but I look back on it and I say to myself, but that was just pure, dumb, wasted energy. They took away something when I got mad. So when this golden age comes in, if someone offends you, are you going to want to kill them? Is the first thing is I hate you? Well, wait a minute, hang on. We have been socially manipulated I'll be 66 soon this month. And I understand what social manipulation has been. Okay. I've been in lots of different circumstances. And all you got to do is look at the history of the United States and go, wow, we screwed up. But in this new paradigm, the new golden age, we're going to all have to look at ourselves, how we look at other people, how we look at money. Like, well, if someone wants to give it to me, I'm just going to keep it. Well, wait a minute. Is that the point? Because in this new paradigm, in the new golden age, if we are all brothers and sisters and understand it, then if you have more than someone else, then it's the ideal is to share it. Now, there are going to be people in this paradigm and say, well, wait a minute. You're talking about stealing all the rich people's money. No, I'm saying these rich people need to give it away of their own accord, because that's the way it should work. If you have something more than another and they require help and you refuse to help, then you're not going to go into the golden age. You're going to get sucked into some other vacuum. You're going to go back to kindergarten to learn how to play in the sandbox correctly. Now, I mean this with the utmost respect to all people. But if you think that you're better than any other person on this planet, you got the wrong modus operandi. You got the wrong whatever in your head. Because in order to get to this golden age, we must, as individuals, as a society, as people on planet Earth, we must, because it's the rule, it's not my rule, we must change how we view things. Are we all equal? Says so in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all that for the United States of America. But when you look at all the rich people, I mean, there are 11 million millionaires in the United States. And then there are people sleeping under bridges. It's wrong. Because the golden age is not that. 11 million millionaires in the United States. Unbelievable. Now, people say, well, it's capitalism. I earned it. Are you trying to tell me you really earned $1 million? Or did people working under you and other things allow you to make that $1 million? Do you share it with those under you? Now, I've had money before, but never more than 40 grand a year. I've always been in the poor category. But at 40 grand a year, I thought I was rich because I had the money I needed to, if the car broke down, to make a payment, to get insurance, whatever it was, to take care of basic necessities. Now I live as a simple human being, so I don't require a lot. But at the same time, I had what I needed. I saved up and bought what I wanted. So it's like, it's not that I couldn't achieve anything, but my salary was limited to 40 grand a year. Now, I worked with people and made them rich, and they were making over 100 grand a year. Several of them in the engineering department. Am I trying to displace them? No. But at the same time, did they consider me their equal? I made 40 grand a year. They tugged me around and threw me into shit that I had no business being into because they didn't know how to deal with it. Now, my talent is I was able to deal with it and make a profit for them. Do you think I got a bonus? No. Was I treated equally? No. They all lost their jobs too. And they lost bigger than I did because I only made 40 grand a year. So it wasn't a hard fall for me when I went to 13,000 a year. For somebody who made 110 or 20,000 a year and they got their salary cut to 30 grand a year, they suffered. Now, would you consider someone that made 110 grand a year equal to a person making 40,000? I did more jobs than they did. I'm not bragging. It's just fact. I still have emails and stuff. But anyway, to the point though, the equality, when we collective lost our jobs, they suddenly realized that we were all together in this. Even though they made more money than me, them being out of work was the same as me being out of work. Didn't matter how much was made. When 800 people lose their jobs. 800 people lose their jobs. There is no other cut around it. All of a sudden, these people looked at life and went, holy crap. I've spent $100 on getting drunk one night, several nights a week, so some of these people were just passing out money and doing stuff because they could, and more power to them. But when it come down to it, they were special. They were the lead engineers. They were in charge of whatever. And so they were privileged until they lost their job. Then we suddenly became equal. Money is a nasty thing. Capitalism, nasty thing. Why? Because it promotes greed. It promotes people to say more for me and less for you. Because if I have more, somebody's got to be making less. So how many folks can literally change their position on this? I've stated before, I knew a friend of mine, man janitor, woman, she was a, caretaker, whatever, maid, I hate to use that word, but she was a janitor assistant, and she went to school to become a nurse. Well, when she got her degree as a nurse, then she suddenly looked down to the janitor, whom 2 years earlier was, quote, her equal. But as soon as she got more education and got a better paying job, then she became more important than the janitor. Well, but he decided not to go to school. Okay, fine. He liked being a janitor. He liked what he did. So why go do something else? If that's what he enjoyed, if he didn't like the stress, if he did, whatever the reason. But now the nurse, who was a maid 2 years earlier, is now looking and saying, I'm better than you because I got more education. And now I make more money. And so now I am better than you. And so rather than sharing it or whatever, these people get greedy and hoard. And then they look down at other people and say, I'm better than you. You're just a janitor. You're just a housemaid. You're a maid. But, equality went out the window. This new paradigm, this golden age, people have to understand. You can't take it with you into this next realm. It's not going to follow you. What's going to be important is how much you shared of yourself, of your heart, of your being, of your soul, of your spirit to other beings. Because that's the universal law. Do no harm to any other being. If you have more money than somebody else and somebody else is suffering, then you're doing harm simply by hoarding and by being greedy. And you say, oh, well, that's a little far-fetched, Dave. But that's the new reality. That's it. That's the new reality. And if people don't understand what this new reality is, they're going to get left out of the golden age. Do we have to have all these high-tech things? Do I have to spend money on, 400 plans and cell phones and all this kind of stuff? Then money's literally going out the window. How much of it do you really need? Or how much of it do you want? I've discussed needs versus wants. But there's so many people now who are wanting so much more. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Being a millionaire only gives you money. It doesn't give you any satisfaction or anything else. You might be able to pay off your bills, but if I had $1 million, I'd be broke tomorrow because I'd be done give it away to everybody. I, fix my roof. It's leaking. Okay. And, my truck needs some work. Okay. But I can't really think of anything else I need. Pay my taxes this year. Okay. But what about everybody else? Everyone else is so worried about the greed. Is it wrong to want to push yourself forward and learn more? Absolutely not. No, that's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. Try to do better. But as you acquire knowledge, do you turn around to the person that's behind you in class and go, well, I'm a senior now and you're just a freshman and you suck, or do you turn around and say, I'm a senior. Can I help you? Can I show you how I learned this? Can you turn around as a senior and look at the freshman and go, hey, welcome aboard. I've got 3 years on you. Let me see if I can help you out. No, there's rivalry. It's the seniors versus the freshmen. Do we turn around and help our fellow man? Very rarely. What is the golden age about? It's all about that. It's a totally different paradigm, totally different reality. No one should be greedy. If you're greedy and trying to get into the next vibration, it's just not going to work, because you're not going to make it through the wormhole, the gate, whatever it is. You got to have the right frequency in order to get there. So think about this, because it's not about being poor or being rich or anything like that. Poor is a state of mind. I'm one of the richest individuals on this earth, and I don't make any money at all. You know, the government stole my Social Security. I'm making $500 a month less than I should be. I could bitch about it. Doesn't do me any good. It's the government. But I can make do with what I have, and that's exactly what I've done. I can be happy with what I have. Thank you. They could have cut my check off at any time. So it's not about me being rich. It is about me being able to pay minimum, livelihoods. I can afford a cell phone. What, $40 a month? I can't afford it. I can't afford the upkeep of this. I'm not bitching. My point is, okay. So I don't worry about whether or not I can have a cell phone, because everything else works out. I got a house phone. That cost me enough. I've got an internet connection. That cost me enough. What else do I need? I have communication with other people. So it's my own greed that would say, I got to have a new cell phone. It's my own greed. It's my own want. It's my own, you get it. So if you find yourself in the wanting area, I want that. Think about it. Do I need that? Or do I just simply want it? Is it a greed factor? Because we can't take this stuff with us into the next realm. And what I mean is, you can't take greed with you. If you're not 100% on board with this stuff, you're going to have to go back to kindergarten. That's all I got to say. And it's not my rule. It's theirs. Okay? It's upstairs rule. It's the heavens rule, if you will. It's the cosmic rule. Do no harm to no other being, whether you can see it or not. If you're pouring out something on the ground and there's microbes in the dirt, you're going to harm them. You say, oh, that's ridiculous. But you're harming other life forms. That's how serious this is. It's not about, well, I didn't, I swatted a mosquito the other day. Hey, well, I don't hunt. No, but you do other things. Do you pour chemicals down your sink all the time and bleach and all this other? Do you know what that does to the environment? Have you thought about it? Well, no, it's a cleaning thing, and I use it. Yeah, because it goes down the drain, and you're not allowed. You don't have to think about it. I do. I have. I've worked in sewage treatment plants. I've seen what goes down the commode and up. It's unbelievable. You would never take another Centrum if you understood how well they float. Anyway, the golden age. You need to expand your thinking on what the golden age is. I'm just suggesting to you. Okay, it's your choice. But I'm being told by the higher ups, please tell these people, please explain it to them in words that they can understand, that it's so much more about understanding, about not harming any other thing, anything. And that just simply because we don't understand that we're harming something, it doesn't take away the fact that we have turned it off inside of ourselves. I'm thinking plastic bottles. Well, oh, but society does it. We all do it. Everybody, it's become commonplace. And now there's plastic floating in the middle of the Pacific, the size of the state of Texas, or bigger, actually. And all the wildlife and things that have died, and all of the organisms. You say, it's just a plastic bottle. But with 7 billion people, if one person out of the 7 billion doesn't get that plastic bottle into the system and it gets recycled, because there's always 1% that never makes it. 1% of 7.5 billion people. How many plastic bottles is that? Or this or that or this or that. How much is it? Are you aware of it? Or you say, well, bullshit, I don't need to think about it. It's just a plastic bottle. Everybody else does it. Okay. If everybody else jumps off the cliff, are you going to jump in behind them? Well, if your awareness is such that you refuse to look at these things on a very basic, small, cosmic level, then your frequency is going to be off. I don't know how else to explain it. Okay. You're not going to have the right frequency. So be kind, share it, listen. You're going to have, it's going to happen whether you want to accept it or not. If you choose not to accept it, more headaches are going to come for you. You're going to be more upset. You're going to fight with more people. If you refuse to accept these changes, it's going to drive you nuts. So accept these changes because they're really good. If we all really do look at each other as equals and we help each other, oh my God, it would be the best family in the universe. And that's what we need. We need to be a universal family, not the United States. I live in the state of Georgia. I live in Colquitt County. Big deal. But I am a citizen of this galaxy, of this solar system, of this universe. Most people just say, I'm going to go to work and make more money because I want. What I want is to be able to get my frequency and to understand what these other beings are saying to you and me. Change is here. It's now. Understand it. The golden age. It's in the last chapter of the last two chapters, I think, of the Apocryphy or the Revelations in the Bible. The golden age. Are you ready? Now, some will say, you got to go get baptized and go and enter into a church. And the Galactics are saying, just be the spiritual you that you can be. Be the best person that you can be. Be compassionate. Be all the things we talk about. But be them. Don't just talk about them. Do them. Be them. Help someone. You know? And if you look at your own life and say, well, maybe I am being a little too greedy. That's how you get there. That's how you achieve that higher frequency. You gotta look inside at the dark side because it's a lower vibration. And lower vibrations tendency to hide in the dark. So check out your vibrations. Am I being too greedy? Am I being too selfish? Do your own homework. I'm not going to judge you. Do what you will. But the law of the universe says, do no harm to any other being. That goes all the way down to the quantum level. And now that's going to be very difficult for a lot of people to swallow. And I understand it. But the Buddha, Christ, pick one. Pick a prophet or a leader or whatever. They've all said the same things. All of them. Different words, different motifs, but they're all saying the same thing. Can't take it with it. Do no harm. So I love you all. I do. I pray for everyone to understand that there is such a greater thing right in front of us, right there. Such a wonderful, the greatest thing in the universe. This planet is transforming. You and I are transforming. Some of us are going to be prettier than others, and I'm not talking about myself. But to the point, though, that if we will allow ourselves to be our spiritual selves on this 3D plane, it's going to teach ourselves what it means to go into the next frequency. So as we look for spirit, and spirit emerges from ourselves, and we understand the spiritual more, then this is going to make more sense. It just will. So I love you. Be careful. Watch out for other folks. But above all, spread the love. Spread the love. Spread the love. 3 times. Spread the love. So I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And share the knowledge. Whether you share this video or not, share the knowledge of the upcoming golden age and how we're all going to be there. I love you. Goodbye.